Yes. Okay. First things first, the news. The yen has been the most strongest currency during the past 2 weeks now. Last week it strengthened on Friday, did quite a big move, and we are seeing that momentum getting pushed more towards the downside on the dollar yen. We had some news come out yesterday. Today there's not much. Consumer confidence later on, and these are timings in India, by the way, so don't get confused because you can see that in the time zone. It's 4:30 at the moment in India here. And we have President Trump speaking. It shows tomorrow, but that's because it's after 12 o'clock in the well, basically when the day ends. So it's basically showing up on Wednesday. Then we have CBI for the Aussie, Bank of Canada announcing their overnight statement, and also the Fed announcing their statement. I mean, both the banks and even the other ones are looking to keep their rates on hold because the concern now is that inflation in the last couple of months has risen quite surprisingly for them. So, one of the banks that is actually considering a rate hike probably next month is the AUD. I was having a read through this article from Mark to Market, and he's really good. You should really start reading his article every week, and he also posts during the week, and he gives some very important levels. And he also mentions about futures contracts expiring at certain levels on the pairs. So you kind of have an idea, okay, it might probably react in that zone. And yes, the Aussie is one of them that might be going to increase their rates next month, and that's what he's mentioned. And he's also mentioned about the verbal intervention from the Japanese yen, so which we saw that on Friday when they announced their rate, and the price has moved quite a lot since then. So it could continue to go back down, and we just need a pullback for us to catch a shot on that. But I'll show you another area that I'm interested in to take along for the short term. And Earth and Sky, I will go through that in a minute. But Pierre has also mentioned a very important thing this week is about correlation. So what do we do when there's a lot of pairs which are basically very similar lining up at the same time? You got to pay attention to correlation because you don't want to end up taking the same trade twice, because then you'll be risking, instead of 0.5, you'll be risking 1% because now those two trades are the same. So if one loses, the likelihood of the other one losing is very high. So you can go through that. He's going through that, and I'll show you those charts in a minute. And I've also received some questions about where can I find the new course that I've released. So if you go to the education section over here, just where every other course is, as M2 Earth and Sky over there, if you go to the rate trading system, you will see M3, which is the one that Mark came up with in during COVID time, but we don't really use it anymore because the setups don't really come anymore that often. So, and this is the other one. This is the new one that I have released. So if you click on that, and then it will take you to this page, and I have updated most of it. The main stuff is already there, and I might be uploading a couple more units on here, and I need to add the examples. So I already have the examples, but what I'm going to do is when I get some time, I'm going to go through this and add them up. I'm quite busy because this weekend I will be flying back to England and just trying to get all the stuff ready to be packed. So, I'm just trying to do everything at the same time. The time is going really fast over here. So, I mean, my day is almost over here. It's 4:30 in the evening over here, but it's still 11 o'clock in the UK. So, what else do we have? I've gone through all that, and Oh yeah, I did receive some nice feedback from members. They have been trying the course out already, and they found a lot of things useful in it. And a few of them also messaged me saying that they took some trades last week and they were winners. So that's very good to hear, and good to see that everyone is trying to get into it and trying it out, testing it out. Of course, you know, test for me, this took altogether a couple of years to kind of go everywhere and search other things. But I was testing this out for a year. So I've obviously condensed it all down and just told you all the main stuff that is needed. So the main thing that you need to do now is go and back test this in the market. Not back test, I would say do already do forward testing, take the live trades, take it on a separate account on a demo, and then maybe go on the live account after you see some kind of consistency with this strategy. But it works. You just have to follow the rules. So I've already mentioned that in here, what the rules are. And let's go on to the charts. The dollar index. So the dollar index has been dropping, and gold has been breaking all-time highs, and so has silver. So it's nearing one, it touched already 5,100 an ounce. So no signs of stopping there. I would assume there could be some profit taking happening over here for a little while because it's a round number, 5,000. Um, it could try and trap traders out who are trying to use leverage to buy it, or even physically who are trying to buy it there at all-time highs. So just be careful. I would probably not get involved with it at the moment. If there's a pullback, then maybe yes, there could be a chance for you to buy. We have been visiting the jewelry shops, but it's ridiculous the amount they are telling you, and they're not. You can't sell it in the jewelry shops over here because then they are not buying it, but they're only allowing you to exchange it because obviously they would then be making a loss if they just keep buying gold from other people. So they're quite smart. Um, yeah, so dollar is dropping, gold is going up, which is what should happen on a normal basis. And I think the stock market is also going up. I have it here because the dollar is dropping, so money is flowing into the riskier assets again. Over here, that was quite a big move. It looked like it was going to tank a bit further, but the market has picked up again and is going back up. Same goes for the UK index and also the NASDAQ. Bitcoin has been consolidating, and it is, I think, at the 78.6 FIB. Is that 78.6 FIB? Yes, it's around the 78.6 FIB. But I do think it could be going down a little bit further. And this 75,000 area, I wouldn't be surprised if there's a big liquidity grab over here and then the price picks up and then goes back up again. And then that's when probably we'll start seeing all the tokens maybe go on a little bit of a bull run. So let's see what happens. I've not been buying anything. If Bitcoin maybe comes to 75, then I might buy a little bit. Of course, not financial advice, but I do want to buy as much as I can, and I have a little bit of cash, the spare cash that I have. So I've already bought along the way over here, and I've just been holding it. But if I do get a chance again, then I will do. I will get involved with it. Okay, the M2 setups. So Euro USD. Let's see if I have any messages. No, I don't. Good morning, Grant. Um, over here we have the. Now I know some of you don't have this monthly 200 over here, but I'm just showing you what I'm seeing. So I just trade what I see. And everyone else maybe here has different brokers. They might not have Global Prime, but I've seen on some of my students' charts the monthly 200 is a little bit higher. So that's okay, but just trade what you see. So you can just make a small tweak to what I'm showing you over here. Or if you don't feel confident, just don't take the trade. You can look for the alternative pair that could be dollar Swissie, for example. If you see dollar Swissie is a much better trade than euro dollar on your chart, then go for that one. It's as simple as that. So with this one here, I would say I will put a Fibonacci here. So I get 61.8. That's one reason. I get the 117 round number. That's two. 55 over there, 3, monthly 204. And we can also use this level as a level of support and resistance. So 5, and then also we have 6 as the EMA 55 is crossing the 200 monthly. So that's quite significant for me as well. So I have multiple reasons for this trade. So that is why I'm interested in this one. Now the dollar Swissy for me is interesting. It's just that it is already at all-time lows, which is what scares me about it, because there could be a thing that Swiss bank intervenes, because they have mentioned before that they wouldn't hesitate, and they haven't before. They have stepped into the market and pushed the price up when they needed to, because their exports can get hurt from a stronger Swissy, because they export quite a lot to um, Europe and other neighboring countries. So their exchange rate is quite important. But the Swissy as well, it has broken the range over here. So that does make it look attractive to take the short from, I would say, down there, somewhere near the 50% fib, because that is support, as you can see, very strong. And then we break, and then we could get a retest in here. But you'll have to go on the 4 hour to see if you have multiple reasons. So on the 4 hour, you might want to take the short somewhere here. It's just that the stop is around 75. You might have to go a little bit higher, near 61.8, and then go there above the EMAs and the 78.6 sweep. I would be more comfortable with that. And then your risk reward is also great if this thing keeps going down. So it's about 180 pips. I mean, Mark to Market has been saying as well, he does think that the dollar is going to weaken further. So that could work out in our favor. The pound USD, it's just not interested in this one at the moment. It's just so messy. And I don't see a setup on it, and I don't want to force it. The basic thing I can see here is a trend line intersecting the weekly 55, that is. Yes. And if you go on the daily, then it's not even touching it on daily. Maybe you have to adjust it like that. But even then, it doesn't look very attractive to me. I mean, then there's very different versions of it, because there you can see I was bringing the trend line, getting 3 touches there, and then some might put it even here and get it like that. And then we have to see then if we have some kind of level here. So there is 134 as a round number here. Something like that. And then if you are waiting for the pullback on the trend line and take the trade, and then you can put a Fibonacci into here. So I'm just combining this with M2. So 78.6 wave trend line, round number, the daily 55. So yeah, support and resistance, that also does look good. It's just we hope that this thing comes down quite quickly. Otherwise, the daily 55 is going to start going back up. So then you have to start looking above here, which I probably wouldn't prefer. So for me, I would keep that to the side for now. Dollar yen, I just want to pull back on this one to take the short, which is what I'm going to do with my new strategy. But I've also shown some of my students that this area over here, 152, is also a very good area. The stop is 76 pips, but the potential is about 380, so nearly 400 pips on this trade. So I would be bound to take this. I've just not put the forward order just yet because this thing is doing a crazy amount of range. It's almost doing twice the daily range every day for the past few days now. So if this is twice the daily range away for FOMC tomorrow, then I might be bound to put the forward order in here. But I will be watching it and I will have a look where it is, wherever it stops today, and then I will make a decision to put the forward order or not. The other point I also mentioned is, for example, if this does 100, 200 odd pips over here, then I will also look to maybe market execute the trade in here because the trade is still valid. It's done. It will be doing twice the daily range, and I will also get a lot better of a stop. So about 50 odd pips, and then I could be looking to make about 400. So that's not a bad trade either in terms of my view. A short, small amount of risk, you can go with a one lot, and then that could be, quite a good trade to take on. And if you look back, 152 has been a major, major level. So you can see that if I just put my crosshair there, you can see here, here, it's acted as support over there, broke out, came back. There was some rejections here, and it's been reacting at this level quite a lot. So for me, that is an area of interest for me to take a trade on. Let's have a look. There's MACD divergence there. Nah. Dollar CAD. This one, I do like the short over here. So 138.40, 50 pip stop to take it back down for around 200. We just need that pullback. So let's see if maybe tomorrow we could get it, because today there's not much news, but tomorrow we have the CAD news and the FOMC. So that could be a lot of volatility on this pair over here. The other option is also to look for a swing trade, which is at 136,360, and that's a 70 pip stop to also make about 200 odd pips. So I do like that one as well. This one is not a forward order for me just yet, but I might be watching it to see if I can get some signs of reversals, because I don't want to be taken out like this, where the price comes and then goes down and then it goes back up. But there is some kind of reaction in here, so I do expect it to bounce off over there. And of course, if I do get this going down and down here, I might even enter this down here with a small stop of around 30 odd pips, because then I would expect this to maybe go back up again from here. The banks and the big institutions, they will be focusing on these big levels over here because the price has reacted there in the past. So just keep that in mind. We could get a nice move over here. It's worked there several times. That was in 2025 when I was mentioning to you over here. And some of you caught this trade as well many times. AUD USD. Now this one here, I would look for a pullback at 67,250. Of course, quite a long way to go. The best performing pair among the majors as of last week and at the moment. So it's a 64 pip stop to take it back up for around 200 to the recent highs. You can also put a Fibonacci here. And we were saying wait for this to break either up or either down, and then to take it whichever direction. Downwards was probably not the best, but it's done it upwards like we wanted, and now we can look for the pullback over here. New Zealand for me is slightly better because of the stop. So on the AUD, I said about 64 pips. This is about 35, so it's about half of what I said. So I would probably go for this one, and we have multiple reasons in here. You can put your stop there to target it back up over here, and even maybe further. But I would take some partial profit at 0.60 is just below it. It's a round number, and prices do react at round numbers on Forex pairs. And EURNZD, this was the winner of last week and probably the best trade of last week among other pairs because this moved the most. It moved around, I think it was 300 altogether, and I only banked about half of it, which was around in here. And Mark held it for a bit further after taking partial profit. So yeah, he did win over that one on me. So it's time to get him back. But let's see. I wanna see a nice pair for this week that gives me an entry. Um, I would take the entry back again in here. Same thing, around a 60 pip stop maybe, and then to take it back down. But of course, we need quite a big pullback in this one. New Zealand CAD, I would not go for it over here, but this area looks interesting to take along. So we have the round number 81, and then the weekly 55, 50% fib, and the daily 200. So that does look good. Now, correlation, remember, you can't take New Zealand USD and New Zealand CAD at the same time. They literally look almost the same. Like the way this setup is over here, it's just about which one comes first. And it's up to you which one you want to take, but they are both the same trade. So just don't make that mistake. If you want to get into both of them, then just half your risk. But for me, I don't really do that anymore. I just go with the best one among the pairs. New Zealand SCC worked very well over here as an M2. It pulled back. There was a bit of a gap, but it pulled back and then reacted at that level I was mentioning at the 55 on the daily over here, the trend line. So you can see there was a gap there and then price picked back up again. I would wait and see if this can come back down again and then maybe look to take the trade. Otherwise, I'll just not force the trade. But it still does look interesting because we have that retest of the neckline over here going on. Left head and then right shoulder over there. So we had the breakout and then we are getting the pullback over here. So let's see. Euro pound, I am interested in this one, but I want this to break above the daily 55. So once this breaks, I will look for the retest and then look to buy on that one. Right. So those are all the M2 trades that I have. Any questions? Yes, God. Good afternoon to me, and yeah, good morning to you. Um, right, let me go on to Earth and Sky. We had 14 pairs, so I've done the job for you. I have picked what I feel are the best ones, in my opinion. And as you know, I usually combine the M2 and I have a look at the Earth and Sky at the same time. So let's have a look. Euro USD for me as well lines up over here. It's a bit extended there, but we are looking for the pullback. I would say this one is a little bit higher compared to M2, but you can go for it at 117,580. Anyway, around in here, 117.60, I would say. 61.8, we have the weekly pivot, the EMAs, and then this is the 4-hour 55 there. So you could go with a 30 pip stop. Conservative would be 45, and then you're looking to take it back up for around 150. It's the same setup that's coming up on my M2, so that's why I do like it, but it is a little bit higher. I was looking around in here because that's where you can see all the EMAs are on the 4-hour. The pound CAD, it does look interesting. So around a 50% fib, we have the round number 87, 187 over here. Well, it's not quite 187 is there, but you have the EMAs over here, weekly pivot, everything going on in here. So I do like the weekly pivot coming inside the earth and sky zone or just around in here. I don't like it when it's above and then it makes it a little bit of a mess because then you are concerned whether it's going to break the weekly pivot or not. But it's nice when it's like this. So I would look for the pullback then and take the trade anywhere around in here. 38 pip stop, take it back up above 95 pips. And this one I think lines up with my new strategy because it's broken this significant level over here, which was resistance, which I'll show you in a minute. AUD-CAD, over here we have the 94 as a round number, as you can see here. And then we have the weekly pivot coming in and with the EMAs over there. So I would go for this one. This one looks quite nice. 40 pip stop to make about 140 pip gain. So that one looks really good. New Zealand USD also looks very good because it's also lining up with my M2 trade. And this one, 58.80 is your entry, 40 pip stop to take it back up for around 123. 58.80. Let's have a look where M2 is. It's about 30 pips lower on this. So it's not too far off. But yeah, that one is showing up there. New Zealand CAD is also showing up almost in the same area. Yeah, it's the same area, 81. And that is where I was looking on M2 as well. 30 pip stop to take it back up around 115. So you can see two strategies are telling you the same thing. So I would be bound to take that setup more compared to the other ones. And then the last one, I didn't like the bears a lot. The dollar CAD was a bit too low, and even the pound Aussie and the other one. The Euro CC looked good to me, just because of how it is. The weekly pivot is in there, and we just need a pullback around 94, 460, and then you could be looking for a 30 pip stop. But you can't hit 1 to 2, but slow moving pair. So it would be the last one I would take because it doesn't move a lot. Like if you look at this chart here, as you can see, some weeks it's just been ranging in this distance and it's been doing around 30 odd pips, which is the daily range of this pair. So I would be taking this as my last option if I was going to take a trade. But I do see it as a nice setup for Earth and Sky, which is why I put it on. All right. Any questions on those so far? Any pair that I haven't looked at that you want me to look at? Wasim, a lot to take in. Yeah, it's quite a lot. I think there's quite a lot to take in because we have so many pairs this week, and I will have a question to you at the end. So you'll better start get thinking about this. But I'm gonna show you the strategy, my new one, which what I'm looking at, and the area. So this is the support and resistance and the area of interest. We have 1, 2, and then 3 touches over there. And then we have made a new low. So clearly the price, I'm just trailing this lower low over there. So that's the lower high and that's the lower low. And now we are expecting the trade to happen somewhere inside between these two lines. But you can see that the area that is screaming at you is this area over here. So if I can get an entry anywhere around in here to take a shot, then I will be going for it. And I think one video I did not put was how to add up your confluences, like how you do with M2. But basically what you do is when you're looking at these confluences, you just add 10% to every confluence that you have. So in the end, then you build it up. So if it's like a 60, 70% or even higher, then the higher the percentage, the better the trade is. But I'll try and get that out, and I'll try and add that in the section when I have a bit of a time. But you have this area of interest and the support. You have the 158 is a bit higher. So anywhere around in here, that looks good for a short for me. And the only thing I'm waiting for is a pullback now and then a confirmation to enter a lower high and a lower low on the shorter time frames when price comes in there. But that could be quite a massive move that we could get on this pair, because if you put on the EMAs, then this move could be around 480 pips. Yes, we have this daily 55 in there, so that could be a concern. But even if we get a pullback around in here, and then the price shows me some kind of reversal, that could be even better, because then I can use this area over here. So all I need to find now is an area of interest in this region overlapping my M2 on this price action. So 50% fib, the daily 55, and then we could see the setup forming up something like this. But the stop is quite big over here, so we obviously need to know what the lower high is going to be, where it's going to form. So I do like that one. And then AUD is very far away. I just need a pullback. Euro New Zealand, so the head and shoulder there, that was on the daily. But if you see this in the longer term picture, it's a head and shoulder within a head and shoulder, and that's because it's coming up on the weekly time frame. So you can see the left head, right shoulder, and then we had the weekly candle breakout. So I do think that this is still got a pullback left in it, and when it comes in there, I will be looking for my sell off on the shorter time frames. So gonna be very patient with it. Just because it's a day trading strategy, it doesn't mean you are going to get a lot of more trades. It's still you're following the rules. Even scalpers follow certain rules for them to get the amount of trades that they hit. So they if they don't hit the checklist, and then they won't take the trade. And this is the same thing with this strategy as well. You don't just jump in because you see something looks attractive. You have to have all the rules, the area of interest. You need to have some other kind of confluence in here. You need to have the trend in your favor. And then you need lastly your entry signal. So once we get up there, then the last thing that is left in the rules is your entry signal. And then you can look for the trade to take it to the downside. Dollar CAD, I'm still waiting for this pullback. And if you look at this, it's the same region as the M2 EMAs. So that gives me a lot more confidence as well. So I'm looking for the pullback, and the price is reacting in here where previously we broke out and then it went down again. But I'm not so confident in it just yet. And if you look at the short time frames, no, I wouldn't go for it. I'll just wait for this pullback in there. Pound New Zealand. So the trade can come anywhere in between here. And there is an area over here that I spotted earlier. So that is 2.3030. So that's kind of like a round number. So if we do get a pullback in there, and then we do have some consolidation and then a sellout, then I will look to take that towards the downside. Pound CAD 87,100. Is that the same area as? No, it's 87.50. So it's a little bit higher, but we have had a significant, it's not on the weekly, but on the daily we've had that. So we've had a break of a significant level. That's the area of interest and the support and resistance. So if you do get a pullback here and then it gives you an entry signal, we could take it to the upside. And then New Zealand CAD is something I'm not that interested in, but I would be interested to long, I think, in here where the EMAs are. So maybe that would be my trade to take it to the upside. I do like the New Zealand USD more though. And then pound Aussie is was consolidating here, and then we had the breakout. So do need the pullback to then take a shot. Right. So I've shown you all the pairs that look interesting to me. So I have one question to you all. What do you think are my top two or top three pairs for the week ahead? Which ones do you think I would go for? I'll just have some water and then, yeah, just type it in the chat box and let me know. Wasim says New Zealand CAD. Grant has said Euro USD. Okay, any more? Euro New Zealand, pound New Zealand. It's very interesting. USD pairs seem USD pairs need a bigger pullback, it seems. Yes, I think that's right, Sachin. Oksana says USD Swissy. Grant says New Zealand USD. Yeah, I think some of you have got it right there. And what I would say is, I think Euro is one of them, but I do have New Zealand USD as I think that would make one of my top pairs for the week. Euro maybe comes in after New Zealand if I was going to take it. It just depends on which one has the better pullback and which one comes in there first. But New Zealand definitely is one of them. And then I have dollar CAD, which is over here because I see two opportunities on that. And this is a 50 pip stop to make 200 pips. So it's a 1, 2, 4 disc reward on that one. It's quite a big one. And it also gives me the flexibility to put the forward order in here for the FOMC because this is from where it is right now, it's about 140 pips. And normally it does around 50 pips. So that would be almost 3 times the daily range if this thing pulls back into here. And if it gives me a long towards over here towards the upside, then I would also be bound to take that. But yeah, New Zealand USD, dollar CAD, I do like. And I think the last one is Euro New Zealand, that head and shoulder pattern. I do like head and shoulder patterns and I've traded them successfully. So I need a pullback into 2.01 over here at the round number to then take a shot. And if we were going to trail, the last thing I need to do is trail this lower low and then my lower high would be in there. So I can then, if I want to, I can then, this I'm just showing you this just to kind of like open your eyes a little bit on this strategy because it's very simple when you start adding things onto it. But when you get used to it, you can start seeing it even without anything on. And you can see there 50% fib. You have the round number 2.01. You have the area of interest over there, strong support and resistance. You have the head and shoulder pattern, left hand side shoulder, which has broken out on the weekly time frame, which is also quite strong compared to the daily. So we have all these things, and now you just need the price to come in here and then just give you an entry signal. So yes, the New Zealand dollar CAD and I would say Euro New Zealand are my top three pairs for the week. Okay, if we have no other questions, we can end the webinar a bit early, and I'll keep you updated in the forum. And yeah, I'll just remind Mark to just give you an update. I think he's saying he's going to post something during the week, so I'll let him know about that. And yeah, thank you, Grant. Yeah, I'll be traveling back to England on s- this weekend, basically. So then I'll be adjusting myself back to those times. And yeah, I will all see you next time when I'm doing the webinar. in England. So I heard it's quite cold over there, and you can see, I don't know if it's there on my charts, but I mean over here the temperature there is 31 degrees, so it's quite hot over here, and I'm going back to about 2 degrees or -1 or something. So I'm not liking it. But yes, take care everyone, and I will post the recording later on. And until then, take care. I'll see you guys in the forum. Bye.